Every sunrise hands you a choice: roll over into yesterday or rise into the day that's waiting for you. Morning. There's something sacred about being awake before the world starts talking. When the sky is still quiet, when the noise hasn't found you yet, that's when you get to decide who you're going to be today. Waking up early isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about stepping into the day before the day steps all over you. Most people don't lose their battles at noon. They lose them the moment they hit that snooze button. Because that's not a nap, that's a negotiation. And every time you negotiate with your goals lose. But you are here because some part of you knows there's more in you, a stronger you, a clearer you, a you that doesn't drift through the morning but drives it. So get up, not because you have to, but because you choose to. Stretch your mind awake, fill your lungs with new air, feel the day say, let's go. And when your feet hit the floor, let that be a promise that you're not running from anything. You're running towards something. This day is yours. Make the first hour count and the rest will follow. Start strong, stay steady, and keep moving forward. Now get out there and meet your morning before it goes looking for you. Owning your morning before the world claims it is about reclaiming the most powerful part of your day. The quiet part, the untouched part, the space where possibility still lives undefined. Before the messages, before the responsibilities, before the noise, there is a moment where you get to decide what kind of energy you want to carry into the next 24 hours. Most people let the world set their pace. They open their eyes and immediately surrender their attention to notifications, emails, and demands that didn't even exist when they went to sleep. They let the outside world dictate their mood, their rhythm, their mindset. But when you choose to rise early, when you choose to meet the morning rather than let it crash into you, something shifts. You step into the driver's seat. There's a clarity in early hours that can't be manufactured later in the day. The air feels different. The mind feels cleaner. The world feels paused, waiting for you to press play. In that stillness, you can hear your thoughts without interference. You can feel your intentions without pressure. You can map out your goals without the weight of everything pulling at you. The early morning isn't just a time, it's an advantage, a head start, a moment of sovereignty that sets the tone for everything that follows. When you rise early, you create a buffer between you and the chaos. You build a space where your actions are proactive instead of reactive. Instead of waking up and immediately responding to the world, you give yourself time to respond to yourself. You ask, what matters today? What deserves my focus? What can wait? You set the foundation for how you carry yourself, how you think, how you act. You choose your attitude rather than inherit it. Owning your morning also means treating it like something valuable. You wouldn't hand your wallet to a stranger and say, take whatever you want. Yet every time you wake up late or let the world grab your attention first, you hand over something far more precious, your mental space, your time, your calm. The morning is the cleanest slate you get all day. If you let someone else write on it before you do, you're already behind. But waking up early isn't only about productivity, it's about identity. It's about proving to yourself that you can do hard things, that you can honor commitments you make when you're wide awake, even when you're tired, that you can choose discipline over comfort. That small decision, getting up with intention, forms a quiet confidence that follows you through the day. You start to trust yourself more, rely on yourself more, believe in yourself more, because if you can conquer the first challenge of the day, you build the momentum to conquer the next one. And the next one, and the next. Owning your morning is claiming your power before anything else tries to take it. And when you do that, the rest of the day stops happening to you and starts happening for you. The moment you hit snooze, you enter into a silent negotiation with yourself, one that almost always ends with your potential paying the price. That little button seems harmless, almost comforting, offering just a few more minutes of warmth and stillness. But underneath that softness is a message you send to your own mind. My comfort is more important than my commitment. And once you teach yourself that message, even once, it becomes easier to repeat. The snooze button isn't just delaying your morning. It's delaying your momentum, your discipline, and in subtle ways, your belief in yourself. Most people think that snoozing is just about sleep, but it's actually about self-trust. Every time you tell yourself you'll wake up at a certain time and then don't, you weaken the bond between your intention and your action. You make promises at night that you break in the morning, and the mind remembers. It keeps score. When you say you'll get up early to work out, read, meditate, plan, or simply give yourself a head start, and you turn off that intention, With a tap of a button, you're reinforcing the idea that your goals are optional. A goal cannot compete with comfort if comfort always wins. And it's never just one snooze. It's 5 more minutes, then 5 more, then 5 more, until you've bargained away the part of the day that could have set your tone, lifted your spirit, sharpened your mind, and prepared you for everything that follows. You don't lose hours, just edges, but edges matter. Edges define how you enter your day. If you start behind, if you start rushed, if you start frustrated at yourself for not getting up when you intended, that energy bleeds into the rest of your decisions. You end up reacting instead of leading. You end up chasing the day instead of creating it. But the opposite is also true. When you refuse to negotiate with the snooze button, when you choose to rise on the first call, you send yourself a very different message. I follow through. I do what I say I'll do. That is a powerful identity to build. Waking up early becomes less about the time and more about the standard you set for yourself. It becomes your first victory of the day. Quiet, private, but significant. You start strong and strength carries over. Choosing not to snooze teaches discipline in the simplest, most accessible form. An agreement between you and your future. Those first moments after waking up are the purest test of your commitment because no one is watching. No one is judging, and no one is cheering. It's just you and your decision. And the strength you build in that moment spills into every area of your life. If you can resist the temptation of comfort at 6 a.m., you can resist the temptation to procrastinate at 2 p.m. If you can honor your intention in the dark, quiet morning, you can honor bigger intentions when the world gets loud and overwhelming. The snooze button may seem small, but every habit either lifts you or limits you, and choosing not to negotiate with that little button might be the simplest way to stop negotiating with your own potential. Presence beats perfection because the morning is not a performance, it's a practice. Too many people start their day under the weight of impossible expectations, a perfect routine, a flawless workout, an immaculate mindset, a beautifully productive first hour. But chasing perfection right after waking up only creates pressure, and pressure is the quickest way to discourage consistency. What truly matters is showing up, not showing off. Being present in the moment, aware of your body, waking up, aware of your breath, aware of the quiet intention forming inside you, that is far more powerful than forcing yourself into some idealized version of a perfect morning that doesn't actually serve your life. Being present means giving yourself permission to start small. You don't need the perfect meditation session, you need a moment of stillness. You don't need the perfect workout, you need a stretch that reminds your body it's alive. You don't need the perfect journal entry, you need a thought that aligns you with what matters today. When you focus on presence, you free yourself from the pressure of doing everything right, and instead you anchor yourself in doing something meaningful. The early morning is an opportunity to check in with yourself before the outside world pulls you in a dozen directions. This is why presence is more sustainable than perfection. Perfection demands that everything works exactly how you imagined it. Presence allows things to be exactly how they are. When you embrace presence, a morning where you oversleep a little isn't a failure, it's just a different starting point. When you embrace presence, a shorter routine isn't a compromise, it's an adjustment. Presence brings flexibility, and flexibility keeps you consistent. Perfection is fragile. Presence is resilient. Presence also lets you hear the internal signals that you often ignore in the rush of daily life. The morning is a place where your mind is clearer, where your intuition is louder, where you can actually feel what you need. Maybe today requires focus, maybe it requires calm, maybe it requires courage. Perfection tells you to follow the same routine no matter what. Presence tells you to listen to yourself. And when you listen, you make choices that support your well-being, not just your schedule. There is also a deep sense of power in starting your day with presence. It means you're not rushing. You're not trying to keep up. You're not already stressed before the day begins. You're grounded, you're aware, you're intentional. That kind of start creates a ripple effect that carries through every task, every conversation, every challenge. You respond instead of react. You observe before you act. You think clearly, feel deeply, and move purposefully. Perfection tries to impress others. Presence tries to improve yourself. And when you begin your morning from a place of awareness instead of pressure, You set a tone of calm strength that follows you all day long. You become less controlled by circumstances and more guided by your own center. You don't need a flawless routine. You need a conscious one. Presence keeps you aligned, grounded, and ready for whatever the day brings, proving again and again that consistency built on awareness is far more powerful than any pursuit of perfection. The first actions you take in the morning shape the direction of your entire day because they act as the opening note in the rhythm you're about to create. Just like a musician sets the tempo before a song begins, you set your personal tempo with the choices you make in the first hour after waking. If those choices are scattered, rushed, or chaotic, that energy tends to follow you. But if your first actions are grounded, intentional, and steady, you build a sense of momentum that carries into everything else you do. Most people underestimate the power of beginnings. They think the morning is just something to get through, a hurdle to jump on the way to real life. But the truth is, the morning is real life. Maybe the most important part of it, because it shapes the mindset you bring into every challenge and opportunity. When you start the day in a hurry, when you're scrambling to find your keys, checking messages before you've checked in with yourself, or rushing out the door already stressed, you're not just reacting to the moment, you're setting a pattern. You're telling your brain, this is how today is going to be, frantic, pressured, behind. And your mind will follow that script unless you interrupt it. But when you start your day with intention, even if it's a simple routine, you set a different script, a slow stretch, a moment of gratitude, a glass of water, a few quiet breaths, a plan for what matters most. These aren't just habits, they're signals. Signals to your mind that you're in control. Signals that the day will follow your lead instead of dragging you around. Signals that you're choosing direction over distraction. The first actions of the day also shape your confidence. When you begin your morning with purpose, you build a sense of internal leadership. You prove to yourself that you can start strong, that you can take charge of the small things, and that you're capable of steering the big things. It's a quiet kind of confidence, the kind that grows not from grand achievement, but from consistent intention. You start to trust yourself more, and that trust influences your choices, your decisions, your interactions. When you start from a place of strength, you carry strength with you. Another reason your first actions matter is because they create momentum. And momentum is one of the most underrated forces in personal growth. When you take one small intentional step in the morning, it becomes easier to take the next one. Completing a simple task, making your bed, writing a short plan, stepping outside for fresh air, creates a sense of movement. Movement leads to motivation, not the other way around. Starting the day with even one positive action gets the engine running, and once it's running, you stay in motion far more easily. These first actions also tell your day what direction to take emotionally. If you begin with calm, you tend to carry calm. If you begin with focus, you tend to stay focused. If you begin with gratitude, you notice more things to be grateful for. What you plant in the morning, grows throughout the day. The mind follows the path you lay down in those early moments. Even on days when you feel tired, unmotivated, or uncertain, that first intentional action can shift everything. It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be deliberate. The beginning of your day sets the tone, sets the pace, sets the mindset, and when you claim that first hour with purpose, the rest of the day begins to align with the strength. You started it with waking up early out of choice and purpose, rather than obligation. Transforms the entire experience of morning into something empowering instead of draining. When you rise because you choose to, the decision carries intention, it carries meaning, it carries identity. You're not waking up because the alarm demands it or because the world requires it. You're waking up because you decided that your time, your growth, your peace, and your goals deserve space before anything else. That shift changes how you step into the day. It replaces resentment with ownership, pressure with clarity, and routine with purpose. Choosing to wake up early means you value your future self enough to make space for them. It means you recognize that the quiet hours of the morning hold opportunities that get harder to reach once the noise of the world begins. Early mornings offer a rare kind of freedom, free from distraction, free from expectation, free from comparison. When you rise with purpose, you get to decide what fills that time. It might be movement, reflection, learning, planning, or simply breathing. Whatever it is, you're giving yourself a gift, time that belongs entirely to you. There's also a psychological power in choosing to rise before you're required to. It sends a strong signal to your mind that you are a person who leads your life, not a person who is pulled along by it. You're not reacting to demands. You're initiating your own right. That sense of agency builds confidence in a way that few other habits do. You become someone who takes charge, someone who acts on intention instead of impulse, someone who understands the long-term value of small daily choices. Purpose-driven waking also shifts how your morning feels. When you wake up early because you have to, you carry a sense of resistance. The alarm becomes an enemy, the morning becomes an obstacle, and you start the day from a place of stress. But when you rise because it matters to you, the same moment feels completely different. The alarm becomes a reminder of your commitment. The morning becomes an invitation instead of a burden. You greet the day with direction instead of frustration. And here's the thing, your purpose doesn't have to be grand. Maybe you want more time to breathe before the world gets loud. Maybe you want a head start on your goals. Maybe you want to build discipline. Maybe you want to feel calm instead of rushed. Purpose isn't measured by how impressive it sounds. It's measured by how deeply it resonates with you. As long as the reason matters, it's enough. When you wake with purpose, you also begin to notice the moments you used to overlook. The way the light changes, the quiet of the early hours, the clarity of a mind not yet cluttered. These moments become a grounding force. They help you start your day connected to yourself, to your intentions, to the direction you want to move. Choosing to wake up early is ultimately choosing yourself. It's choosing the version of you that wants growth more than comfort, intention more than habit, progress more than excuses. The morning becomes your launch pad, not your hurdle. And when you begin your day with a choice rooted in purpose, you carry that sense of meaning with you long after the sun is up. When you rise early, when you claim those first quiet moments of the day, you're doing more than waking up. You're declaring who you intend to be. You're choosing discipline over distraction, intention over impulse, presence over perfection. You're giving yourself the gift of clarity before the world gets loud, the gift of direction before the day gets complicated, and the gift of momentum before challenges even show up. Every morning is a clean slate, and every early rise is a small but powerful promise you make to your future self. The world doesn't decide your rhythm, you do. And when you choose to start strong, you set everything else in motion, your goals, your mindset, your energy, your confidence. The morning becomes not just the beginning of your day, but the beginning of who you're becoming. Thank you for being here, for listening, and most of all, for choosing to invest in yourself. Your time matters, your effort matters, and the choices you make each morning shape the life you're building. Keep rising with purpose. Keep showing up for yourself. And remember, every sunrise is waiting for you to meet it. Until next time, keep moving forward, stay steady, and make your mornings count. Thank you, and have an amazing day.